Ever feel like you're this close to getting what you want, but something always seems to get in the way? Like you're trying to manifest that dream job or the perfect partner, or even just a decent parking spot, but you keep hitting these roadblocks. You know that feeling, right? Well, let's talk about the law of attraction. We're diving deep into this book I found called Law of Attraction. Law of Attraction Secrets on How to Attract Money, Power, and Love. Just the title, right? I mean, who wouldn't be intrigued? The thing is, this whole law of attraction thing, it's trickier than those Instagram gurus make it sound. It's not just about slapping together a vision board and chanting affirmations. It's about understanding the deeper mechanics of how our thoughts and feelings and beliefs shape our reality. And honestly, sometimes I think we're unknowingly sabotaging ourselves, you know? Like just the other day, I was trying to manifest a free coffee. I was visualizing it, feeling the warmth of the mug in my hands every day. But guess what? I ended up spilling my own coffee all over myself. Talk about a cosmic joke, right? Clearly, I needed a deeper dive into this whole law of attraction thing. So, what does this book say? Well, first things first, it emphasizes that the universe is always listening.
Mm.
Like always, we're constantly sending out vibes with our thoughts, feelings, and actions. And those vibes, they're basically invitations to the universe to send us more of what we're putting out there. Kind of wild when you think
Yeah.
about it, right? But here's where it gets interesting. The book dives into why positive thinking alone often doesn't work. And it's not because the law of attraction is a bunch of hooey. It's because our subconscious minds are often packed with all these limiting beliefs that contradict those positive thoughts. You know, it's like trying to run a marathon with a backpack full of rocks. You might be putting in all the effort, but you're carrying all this extra weight that's holding you back. And that's what these limiting beliefs can do to our manifestations. They're like those rocks weighing us down and preventing us from reaching our full potential. The book uses this great analogy. It compares a single positive thought trying to be heard over a symphony of negative beliefs to like a solo violin trying to be heard over a full orchestra.
See, no matter how loud that little violin plays, it's going to get drowned out by all that other noise.
Right.
So, what's the solution? Well, the book suggests that we need to address those subconscious beliefs, clear out that mental clutter, if you will. It's about becoming aware of those negative thought patterns and consciously choosing to replace them with more positive and empowering ones. It's about retraining our brains to vibrate at a higher frequency, one that's aligned with what we truly desire. Let's talk about those treasure maps, those vision boards everyone's making. I've made a few myself, and there's definitely something motivating about seeing all your goals and dreams laid out visually right. It's like a tangible reminder of what you're working towards. But, and this is a big, but the book makes a really interesting point about how treasure maps can sometimes backfire. It's like when we lump all our desires together on one board, it becomes this all or nothing proposition. And if we have any subconscious doubts about whether we deserve all that good stuff, we might be unknowingly attracting more of what we don't want.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and it's made me realize that maybe we need to be more mindful about how we approach our vision boards. Instead of just throwing everything we want on there, maybe we need to be more selective, more intentional. Maybe we need to ask ourselves, what are the things that truly resonate with my soul? What are the things that would bring me the most joy and fulfillment? And what are the things that might be based on external expectations or societal pressures? Those
Yeah.
things that we think we should want, but deep down we're not really that passionate about. Because I think when we're truly aligned with our desires, when they come from a place of authenticity and self-love, that's when the law of attraction really starts to work its magic. That's when we start to see those synchronicities, those serendipitous encounters, those opportunities that seem to appear out of thin air. It's like the universe is conspiring to help us achieve our dreams, but we have to meet it halfway. We have to be clear about what we want and why we want it. Now, another thing that really resonated with me in this book is its perspective on fueling the engine of attraction. It's not just about thinking about what you want, it's about how much attention and energy you give it. It's like focusing a laser beam. The more focused and intense that beam, the more powerful it is. And here's where it gets really interesting. The book argues that any emotion can work, even fear or anger. But obviously, obsessing over those just attracts more of what we're trying to avoid. It's like that saying, what you resist persists. I've definitely experienced this in my own life. You know, when you get caught in that spiral of negative thinking and it just seems like everything is going wrong, it's like you're attracting more negativity with every thought. But when you can shift your focus to something positive, even if it's just a small thing, it can totally change the momentum. Like the other day, I was having a really bad day. Everything was going wrong. I was feeling totally stressed and overwhelmed. But then I remembered this thing I had read about the power of gratitude. And I decided to try it out. I started thinking about all the things in my life that I was grateful for: my health, my family, my friends, even my quirky little dog. And you know what? It totally shifted my energy. It didn't magically solve all my problems, but it gave me a new perspective. It reminded me that even in the midst of chaos, there's always something to be thankful for. And that little shift in my thinking made a huge difference in how I felt. So, what does this all mean for us as aspiring manifestors? Well, it means we have a choice. Instead of feeling like victims of our circumstances, we can become co creators of our reality. And it starts with catching those negative thoughts and consciously choosing a more positive vibe, even and especially when things feel tough. But let's be real, that's easier said than done, because sometimes there's some serious self sabotage going on beneath the surface, right? And the book really digs deep into this. It talks about unworthiness, shame, and lack those deeply ingrained beliefs that can totally undermine even our best intentions. Think about it. Have you ever felt like you weren't good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough to achieve your dreams? Maybe you got that promotion, you met someone amazing, or you finally achieved that fitness goal you've been working towards, but then this little voice in your head starts whispering, you don't deserve this, or it's too good to be true.
Or just wait, it's all going to fall apart anyway. I know I've definitely had those thoughts. And according to this book, those beliefs can be a major roadblock on the road to manifestation. It's like we're putting up these invisible walls that prevent us from receiving all the good stuff the universe wants to send our way. So how do we break down those walls? Well, the book introduces this super interesting visualization exercise called the tuning fork exercise. I'm not going to give away all the details here, but it basically involves tapping into the frequency of what you desire, kind of like tuning yourself to the same vibration. But here's the catch. The book stresses that this exercise is most effective after we've addressed those deeper seated self-sabotaging beliefs. It's like you can't just tune yourself to abundance if you're still broadcasting a signal of lack. And finally, the book explores the concept of surrender. And it knows not about giving up on our dreams. It's more like a powerful form of partnership with the universe, like trusting that things will unfold in the best possible way, even if we don't understand how or why. It's like when you're driving somewhere new and you're using GPS.
You plug in the destination, and the GPS tells you which way to go. But sometimes there's traffic or construction, or maybe you miss a turn, and the GPS has to recalculate the route. But you don't just give up and go home, right? You trust that the GPS will get you there eventually, even if it takes a little longer than expected. And that's kind of how surrender works with the law of attraction. We set our intentions, we visualize our desires, and we take inspired action. But we have to let go and trust that the universe will guide us to our destination, even if the path isn't always clear. The book shares this thought-provoking story about a man who refused help during a flood, thinking God would save him. He missed all these opportunities: a car ride, a canoe, a motorboat, even a helicopter. And, well, let's just say it didn't end well for him. The point is, sometimes we get so fixated on our own limited perspective that we miss the signs and opportunities the universe is sending our way. We're so busy trying to control everything that we forget to just trust the process. So what do you think so far? Pretty eye-opening stuff, right? It's funny. I was talking to a friend the other day who's really into this whole law of attraction thing. They were telling me about how they were trying to manifest their dream job right. They had it all planned out: the corner office, the six-figure salary, the fancy company car. But they were getting super frustrated because it just wasn't happening. And as I was reading this book, it kind of hit me, Maybe they were focusing too much on the stuff, the external trappings of success, and not enough on the feeling behind it. Like, what were they really hoping to get out of that dream job? Was it a sense of purpose, financial security, respect from their peers? Because at the end of the day, it's those feelings that really drive us right. We might think we want the fancy car or the big house. What we're really after is how we think those things will make us feel. We want to feel happy, secure, loved, successful. And the law of attraction is really about aligning ourselves with those feelings, regardless of the external form they might take. I remember this one time I was totally obsessed with getting this specific apartment. It was in this trendy neighborhood. It had exposed brick walls and hardwood floors. And I just knew it was meant to be mine. I spent weeks visualizing myself, living there, decorating it, inviting my friends over for dinner parties. But guess what? It fell through. Someone else got it. And I was devastated. I mean, I was totally convinced that this apartment was the key to my happiness. But then something interesting happened. A few weeks later, I found another apartment. It wasn't in the trendy neighborhood. It didn't have exposed brick or hardwood floors. But it was perfect for me. It was cozy, it was affordable, and it had this amazing rooftop deck where I could see the sunset every night. And you know what? I was happier in that little apartment than I ever would have been in the trendy one, because it wasn't about the external stuff. It was about the feeling. It was about feeling at home, feeling content, feeling like I had found my place in the world. So what I'm learning from all of this is that the law of attraction isn't some magic formula for getting everything we want exactly the way we want it. It's more like a way of life.
It's about being mindful of our thoughts and feelings, trusting in something bigger than ourselves, and being open to the infinite possibilities the universe has to offer. And, sometimes what we think we want isn't actually what's best for us. It's like that saying, be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. I think sometimes we get so caught up in our own limited perspective that we miss the bigger picture. We think we know what's best for us, but the universe has a much wider view. And sometimes it has to redirect us, it has to take us on a detour to get us where we're really meant to be. And that's where surrender comes in. It's not about giving up. It's about trusting that the universe has our back even when we can't see the whole path. It's about letting go of our need to control everything and allowing things to unfold in the best possible way, which, let's face it, can be pretty scary sometimes. I remember this one time I was applying for this job that I really wanted. It was like my dream job. And I had put so much time and energy into the application process.
I had researched the company. I had tailored my resume and cover letter. I'd practiced my interview answers a million times. But then I didn't get it. I got rejected. And I was crushed. I mean, I had put so much of myself into this, and it felt like a huge setback. But then a few weeks later, I got a call from another company, a company I hadn't even applied to. And it turned out to be an even better opportunity. It was a higher paying job. It was in a field I was more passionate about, and it had a much better company culture. And looking back, I realized that if I had gotten that first job, I would have missed out on this amazing opportunity. And it all came down to surrender. I had to let go of my attachment to that specific outcome and trust that something even better was waiting for me. So how do we actually practice surrender? Well, it's different for everyone, but for me, it often starts with a simple acknowledgement. Like, I'll say to myself, okay, universe, I know I'm doing the best I can, but I'm handing this over to you now. And sometimes that's enough to release the pressure and allow things to flow more easily. And, surrender doesn't mean that we just sit back and do nothing. It's not about being passive.
It's about taking inspired action when it feels right and then letting go of the outcome. It's about trusting that the universe will meet us halfway, that it will provide the opportunities and resources we need to achieve our goals. But it's also about being open to those opportunities. Sometimes the universe will send us something unexpected, something we hadn't even considered before. And it's up to us to recognize those signs and be willing to step outside our comfort zones. This book has this really powerful section on eliminating self-sabotage. It talks about how those deep-seated beliefs of unworthiness, shame, and lack can literally block us from receiving all the good stuff the universe wants to send our way. I mean, think about it. If we don't believe we're worthy of love, abundance, or success, why would the universe give it to us? It's like we're putting up these invisible walls that prevent us from experiencing our full potential. And sometimes those walls are so ingrained we don't even realize they're there. Like the other day, I was talking to a friend who's incredibly talented. She's a brilliant artist. She's got a great sense of humor, and she's just an all-around amazing person.
But she keeps attracting these partners who are, well, let's just say they're not exactly worthy of her. They're either emotionally unavailable, or they're disrespectful, or they just don't appreciate her for the amazing person she is. And I was thinking about this book, and it hit me. Maybe she has some subconscious belief that she doesn't deserve to be with someone who truly loves and values her. Maybe she has some old wound from her past that's telling her she's not good enough. And that belief is manifesting itself in her relationships. It's like her subconscious mind is saying, see, you're not worthy of love. Look at the kind of partners you attract. And I know this might sound a little harsh, but sometimes the universe has to be a little bit blunt with us. It has to show us those patterns in our lives so that we can finally wake up and say, hey, this isn't working. I need to change something. And that's the beauty of the law of attraction. It's not about blame or shame. It's about empowerment. It's about taking responsibility for our own reality and consciously creating the life we truly desire.
And that means facing those shadow parts of ourselves, those negative beliefs that we've been carrying around for who knows how long, and starting to replace them with more positive and empowering truths. Now, I know that sounds like super deep and maybe even a little intimidating, right? But trust me, it's worth it. Because when we release those limiting beliefs, it's like the floodgates open and we can finally start attracting the life we truly desire. It's like we're finally free to be our authentic selves, and that's when the magic really starts to happen. The book even has this cool exercise where you basically ask yourself exactly how much happiness am I willing to accept from the universe? It's like, whoa, that's a huge question, right? But it really makes you think about how much we might be subconsciously blocking ourselves from experiencing true joy and fulfillment. And it's not just about winning the lottery or finding our soulmate. It's about those little everyday moments of happiness, those simple pleasures that we often take for granted. It's about cultivating a sense of gratitude for all the good things in our lives, no matter how big or small.
Because the more we appreciate what we have, the more we attract abundance in all areas of our lives. Like that old saying, the more you give, the more you receive. But it's also about being open to receiving. Sometimes we're so focused on giving, on doing, on achieving, that we forget to just be, to just allow ourselves to receive the love, the abundance, the joy that the universe is constantly trying to shower us with. And speaking of receiving, this book emphasizes that the universe is constantly sending us signs and messages, like little nudges in the right direction, but we have to be open to receiving them. We have to be paying attention. It's like when you learn a new word and then suddenly you start seeing it everywhere. It's not that the word didn't exist before, it's just that you weren't paying attention to it. And it's the same with the universe's signs. They're always there, but we have to be tuned in to the right frequency to pick them up. I remember this one time I was really struggling with a decision. I was trying to decide whether or not to quit my job and start my own business. And I was going back and forth, making pro and con lists, talking to everyone I knew, trying to figure it all out. And then one day I was walking my dog at the park and I saw this giant billboard that said, leap and the net will appear. And it was like, bam, that was my sign. I knew in that moment that I had to trust my gut and take the leap. And you know what? It was the best decision I ever made. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that the law of attraction is all around us. It's in those synchronicities, those chance encounters, those little whispers of intuition. We just have to be open to seeing them, hearing them, and most importantly, trusting them. Because, sometimes the universe works in mysterious ways. It might not always give us what we think we want, but it always gives us what we need. And often what we need is something far greater than we could have ever imagined. So what does it all mean? Well, for me, it means that the law of attraction isn't just about getting more stuff or achieving our goals. It's about aligning ourselves with the flow of the universe, trusting in the process, and allowing ourselves to be guided towards our highest and best good.
And, that might not always be easy. There might be bumps in the road, detours, unexpected challenges. But if we can stay focused on the positive, cultivate a sense of gratitude, and surrender to the wisdom of the universe, I truly believe that anything is possible. Now, this next part is pretty cool. The book talks about how our outer experiences are like reflections of our inner world. It's like the universe is constantly giving us feedback, showing us where we're aligned and where we might need to do some more work. So for example, let's say you're constantly attracting drama into your life, chaotic relationships, stressful situations, just general upheaval. Well, according to this book, that's probably a sign that there's some inner turmoil going on. Maybe you're holding on to anger, resentment, or fear. Maybe you have some unresolved trauma that you need to heal. Or maybe you're just not taking good care of yourself emotionally and spiritually. Whatever the reason, the universe is like, hey, pay attention. There's something here that needs to be addressed. And the same goes for the good stuff. If you're attracting abundance, joy, and love into your life, it's a sign that you're aligned with your highest self.
It's like you're vibrating at a frequency that attracts more of the same. I think about this the other day when I was walking my dog. We were in this beautiful park. The sun was shining. The birds were singing. And I was just feeling so grateful for that moment. And then I saw this little girl running around with a huge smile on her face. And it just made me realize that joy is contagious. When we're vibrating at a high frequency, we radiate that energy out into the world, and it affects everyone around us. But here's where it gets really interesting. The book suggests that we can actually use our outer experiences as a guide to decode our inner world. It's like if we're paying attention, we can start to see patterns emerge. So let's say you keep attracting flaky friends into your life, people who are always canceling plans, gossiping behind your back, and just generally not showing up for you. Well, the book might ask, are you being flaky with yourself? Do you honor your commitments? Do you speak kindly to yourself? Do you prioritize your own needs? Or let's say you keep attracting partners who are emotionally unavailable. The book might ask, are you emotionally unavailable? Are you afraid of intimacy?
Do you have walls up? Are you sabotaging your own relationships? It's like the universe is holding up a mirror and saying, take a good look. What do you see? And sometimes what we see isn't pretty. It can be uncomfortable to face those shadow parts of ourselves, those patterns that we've been repeating for years, maybe even lifetimes. But the good news is once we become aware of them, we can start to change them. We can choose to break those cycles and create new and healthier patterns. And that's the beauty of the law of attraction. It's not about blame or shame. It's about empowerment. It's about taking responsibility for our own reality and consciously creating the life we truly desire. So the next time you find yourself complaining about your circumstances or feeling like a victim of your experiences, take a step back and ask yourself, what is the universe trying to show me? What is this experience reflecting back to me about my own inner world? Because sometimes the greatest lessons come disguised as challenges. And the more we're willing to learn and grow, the more we align ourselves with the flow of abundance and attract all the good stuff the universe has to offer. So if the universe is truly unlimited, how much happiness are you willing to let in? Because that might just be the biggest secret to making the law of attraction work for you. And hey, if you figure out how to manifest that free coffee, let me know. Until next time, keep those good vibes flowing.